Hey everyone, welcome to our deep dive into, well, gotta be honest, a total classic, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
A classic for a reason.
Right. But honestly, 1936, that's like almost a century ago. I mean, can this really teach us anything about navigating today's world?
Yeah.
Social media, instant, everything.
It's a fair point.
Mm.
But see, that's the beauty of Carnegie's work. He tapped into those kind of timeless human desires. Connection, validation, the need to feel important. That stuff never goes out of style.
Okay, I see what you mean. So, like, even though we're now glued to our phones and having, like, these huge debates online, deep down, we're still driven by those same basic needs.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And those needs, they're at the heart of how we relate to each other, how we communicate, how we influence, and how we build relationships, both personally and professionally.
Okay, so how does a nearly 100-year-old book address all that?
Well, Carnegie lays out these fundamental techniques for handling people. And it all starts with a pretty radical idea, even now: ditch the criticism.
Whoa, hold up. No more, like, tough love. I gotta be honest, that's a tough one to swallow.
I hear you. It sounds
What?
counterintuitive, right?
Yeah.
But think about it. Have you ever been on the receiving end of some harsh criticism? How did it make you feel?
Defensive, like, instantly.
Exactly. And that's what Carnegie was getting at. He recognized that criticism, more often than not, triggers defensiveness. It puts people on edge, makes them less likely to hear your message, let alone actually change their behavior.
I never thought about it that way. It's like when, you spill coffee on yourself right before a big presentation. You're not really focused on the presentation anymore. You're just mortified and thinking about the stain.
Precisely. Criticism can really derail things, shift the focus away from problem solving and towards, well, blame and negativity.
So what's the alternative? If we can't be honest about what someone's doing wrong, how can we expect them to improve?
Well, it's not about avoiding honesty altogether. It's about framing it constructively, focusing on solutions rather than pointing fingers. Carnegie actually shares a really compelling anecdote about this in the book.
Ooh, a story. I'm all ears.
So there was this guy, let's call him Bob. Bob kept messing up these reports at work, just couldn't seem to get them right.
Poor Bob. We've all been there.
Right. So his manager, instead of, giving Bob the whole "you're messing up" routine again, he tries something different. He sits down with Bob and he says something like, "Hey, I've noticed these reports have been a bit off lately. I know you're swamped, so maybe we can find a way to streamline things or get you some additional support."
Wow, what a difference. Instead of making Bob feel incompetent, his manager acknowledges the challenge and, like, focuses on finding a solution together.
Exactly. It's about shifting the focus from blame to collaboration, creating an environment where people feel safe to admit mistakes and, even more importantly, are motivated to improve.
Okay, ditching the criticism. I'm starting to see it. So, less critic, more coach. What's next on this whole winning friends journey?
Well, this is where Carnegie introduces another pretty revolutionary concept, and it ties in beautifully with this whole ditch the criticism thing, giving honest and sincere appreciation.
Okay, so be nice, revolutionary. Come on, I'm kidding. But seriously, why was that such a big deal back then?
Well, think about it. Back in the early 20th century, society was a lot more, shall we say, reserved when it came to expressing emotions, especially in the workplace.
So like complimenting someone on a job well done was the equivalent of like a grand romantic gesture back then.
Maybe not that extreme, but you get the idea. Public displays of appreciation weren't exactly the norm, but Carnegie recognized something crucial. He knew that everyone, deep down, craves appreciation. It's that basic human need for validation, for recognition.
Totally. I mean, when someone genuinely acknowledges your efforts, notices the things you're doing well, it's incredibly motivating. Makes you want to like step up your game even more.
Exactly. It's like, imagine you're a plant, right? Criticism, that's like pouring acid on your roots. Appreciation, that's like sunshine and water, nourishing your growth.
Okay, you've officially made me a Carnegie convert. Ditch the criticism, give sincere appreciation. What's next on our journey to winning friends and influencing people? So we've ditched the criticism, we're handing out genuine appreciation like it's going out of style. What's next? What's the secret sauce to, actually winning people over?
All right, so this is where Carnegie gets into the nitty-gritty of like human interaction 101. And honestly, it's surprisingly simple. Ready for this?
Hit me with it.
Be genuinely interested in other people.
Okay, it sounds easy enough on paper, but how do we actually do that? Like, how do you go beyond the whole, so what do you do, small talk, and really connect with someone, especially if, you don't have a ton in common?
It's all about a shift in perspective. Instead of walking into a conversation thinking, how can I impress this person? Or
Mm.
what can I talk about to make myself seem interesting? Flip the script.
Okay, flip the script. I like it. So instead of making it all about me, 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 I should be thinking.
Think. What can I learn from this person? What genuinely intrigues me about their experiences, their perspective? Embrace that curiosity.
So it's less about like showing off and more about soaking it all in, being present, really listening to what the other person has to say.
Bingo. And you'd be amazed at how powerful that shift in focus can be. Carnegie actually said, and I quote, "You can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you."
Okay, that's like a truth bomb right there. But seriously, why is genuine interest so disarming, so effective in winning people over?
Think about it. Have you ever had someone really listen to you, like truly listen, not just waiting for their turn to speak, but asking those insightful questions, really trying to understand your point of view?
Totally. It makes you feel like heard, like you matter.
Exactly. And who doesn't want to feel that way? When you show genuine interest in someone, you're essentially saying, you are important to me. Your thoughts, your feelings, they matter.
So genuine interest, it's like the ultimate compliment.
It's more than a compliment, it's a superpower. It builds trust, it deepens connections, and it makes people feel good about themselves.
Okay, I'm sold. Genuine interest, check. What other Carnegie gems do we have in store?
Well, beyond cultivating that genuine interest, Carnegie also throws in some, shall we say, practical tips for boosting your likability,
Uh,
especially in those first encounters.
oh, you mean like remembering names? Because if
Right.
so, that is an area where I need some serious help. I'm like the queen of nice to see you again.
Awkward.
Uh-huh. You and me both. It's a struggle. But you know what? Carnegie was onto something. He recognized that remembering and using someone's name, it's such a simple act, but it's crazy effective. It instantly makes you more likable, shows you're paying attention, that you value them as an individual. It's true. Even just hearing someone say your name, like in a crowded room, it just makes you feel seen.
Right. And it's not just about names. Carnegie also talks about the power of a genuine smile and, of course, being a good listener.
Okay, those seem straightforward enough, but why do they matter so much?
It all goes back to those basic human needs we were talking about. Connection, validation, feeling important.
So, when we remember someone's name, when we offer a genuine smile, when we really listen, we're essentially speaking to those deeper needs.
But precisely. We're creating a sense of warmth, of rapport, of feeling valued. And that, my friend, is the foundation for building strong, lasting connections.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Ditching the criticism, embracing the appreciation, remembering those names. But let's get real for a sec. How do we actually get people to see our side of things? Especially in today's world, where everyone's got an opinion, everyone's ready to argue about it online.
You're hitting on a really important point here. And thankfully, Carnegie dedicates a good chunk of his book to this whole idea of, well, winning people to your way of thinking.
Okay, winning people to your way of thinking sounds a little, I don't know, manipulative when you say it like
I
that.
know, right? Sounds kind of icky. But trust me, Carnegie's not advocating for, like, Jedi mind tricks or anything.
Okay, good, because I left my mind control device at home.
It's more about uh, persuasion through understanding, through respect, and finding common ground.
Got it. So less Darth Vader, more like collaborative problem solving.
Exactly. And he starts by, like, calling out this common trap we all fall into, the need to win arguments.
Oh, tell me you've never gotten sucked into a like pointless online debate that you just had to win, even if it meant sacrificing your sanity.
Guilty as charged.
No.
But here's the thing. Even when we do win an argument, what have we really gained? Have we changed anyone's mind? Usually not.
True. More often than not, it's just like egos clashing.
Exactly. And that's not exactly a recipe for, building bridges or fostering genuine influence. Carnegie argues that the real win, the true victory, is winning people over, not arguments.
So less about proving our point and more about understanding the other person's perspective.
Exactly. It's about saying yes and as much as possible, especially early on in a conversation. Find that common ground.
Okay, yes, and I like that. It's like building momentum towards a shared goal.
Exactly. And this segues beautifully into Carnegie's thoughts on leadership, because, surprise, surprise, it's not about barking orders and demanding compliance.
Okay, so what's the Carnegie approach to leadership then?
He was a huge proponent of praise. Like, seriously, shower people with genuine praise and encouragement.
All right, so more cheerleader, less drill sergeant.
Think of it more like being a coach, someone who sees potential, who recognizes strengths, and helps people cultivate those strengths.
Makes sense.
It,
Because who doesn't respond well to a little bit of, positive reinforcement?
it all goes back to those fundamental human needs, right? We all want to feel valued, appreciated, capable. And when we lead with that in mind, when we approach our interactions, both personally and professionally, from a place of empathy and understanding, well, that's when those Carnegie principles, they really come to life.
It's like you're saying, it's less about using some sort of like formula to manipulate people and more about approaching relationships in all aspects of our lives with a genuine desire to connect, to understand, to build each other up.
Nailed it. And you know what? That's what makes How to Win Friends and Influence People so incredibly relevant, even now, almost a century after it was written. It's not just some dusty old self-help book. It's a guide to navigating the human experience.
It's like a reminder that no matter how much technology advances, no matter how much the world changes, those fundamental human needs, they remain constant.
Absolutely. And when we tap into those needs, when we prioritize kindness, empathy, and understanding, we create a ripple effect that extends far beyond ourselves.
Beautifully said. Well, that was quite a journey. From ditching the criticism to embracing the power of yes and. I think it's safe to say we've all learned a thing or two today about winning friends, influencing people, and maybe even becoming better humans along the way.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into how to win friends and influence people. Until next time, remember, a little kindness goes a long way.